This is a very unique Global Rescuers as we take a walk on the wild side.
I started off in show business many years ago and kind of didn't like the way animals are being treated in showbiz, even though I treated mine fine. But it's just not a life for an animal, so I decided to put my show on hiatus and started rescuing animals. And so now I have lots of them.
Okay, wait, so you start rescuing them, but you need a place to put them. So take me back to the beginning.
Well, you know, we were in Vegas, of course, and believe it or not, we originally kept the animals at the Dewey Animal Shelter, and they were dog cages that weren't being used, kind of in the back of the shelter, and that's where we used to keep our cats.
Okay.
And then, of course, but they're caged.
Yeah.
And so then eventually I realized that they needed a lot more space, and I started looking for land. And of course, once you decide to go nonprofit, then you realize you're no longer getting paid. Now you have to go out and beg.
Right.
And so it took us a long, long time to be able to raise the money to get the property and to get the money together to buy the property with, of course.
Right.
This is one of our mountain lions over here, and he's underneath this platform. And there you can see our llamas.
Oh, beautiful. Hi, baby.
That's Snickers.
Now, how do you rescue a llama and why?
Well, they actually came from a llama ranch, and they were so unruly they didn't want them anymore, and of course over there they breed them and so on and so forth, and so I guess they weren't meant for that program. And they are, by the way, they're really tough. They will knock you down, these guys.
Well, they're wild animals.
Oh yeah. And
so
we build them a huge habitat, as you can tell.
that one up there is so majestic.
Yeah,
looking.
it's kind of a, let me move it forward a little so you can see. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it's a very natural setting. You know, the fences go all the way up the mountain. And so this kind of looks like a Peruvian setting for them, which is perfect.
Sure, and they seem to enjoy it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
How did you get this property?
Well, you know, I've been looking for land for about a year and a half, and by accident I actually drove by here one day, and there was a little for sale sign out front by owner, and I thought, oh man, come on, how can you know? It didn't look that big, you know, from the outside, and then once I got on the property, I just fell in love with it.
Oh, I can see.
Oh
why.
yeah, I mean
This is
it's
fascinating.
very tough to build in because it's all in rock, but it makes it a little more expensive. But it certainly is a beautiful barrier for the animals. That's why we chose that.
And I would think a lot of the fencing was donated. Am I correct?
No, we actually paid for all of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is one of our cougars.
Oh, beautiful.
Hi, Bandit.
Hello, Bandit.
He's about 19 years old.
He
And,
is just beautiful.
But you know, all the animals that come to us are rescued. So, hi, big boy. I think that he was the one that was owned by a couple that came in from Pennsylvania, and they had bought him for their little daughter.
What?
How dumb. Thinking that he was a great pet when he was a cub. And then when he came to the state of Nevada, of course now we're in Arizona, I rescued him when I was still in Nevada. And they realized they couldn't keep him, and then they came to Keepers of the Wild. But yeah, this cat would have killed their daughter by now. This is a father and son.
Okay. Beautiful.
And a lot of people don't know that black leopards are just that. They're a leopard, they're not a panther. The word panther comes from the scientific name Panthera. All the big cats, or most of the big cats with the exception of the cheetahs and the cougars, fall in the Panthera family. So it's kind of like what we call a buffalo. It's not a buffalo, it's a bison. They were used for breeding purposes. There was a lady in Las Vegas that had them, and she was just breeding the hell out of them. And
For what purpose?
for
do you know?
selling to cubs, you know,
it's a
and they
money
would go
thing?
to, yeah, it's a money thing. And then they go to showbiz people, and And the
Yeah.
guy that actually ended up taking him, he couldn't handle the leopards. And so we managed to get all three of them. Of course, we spayed Mom right away.
Sure.
And so she lived for a long time with her husband or her mate and her son for many, many years, and she just passed a couple of years ago. Here we have Chaos. He's one of our white tigers. He used to belong to a magician.
Okay.
There he is. Hi, Chaos.
I love the name.
Yeah, he is chaotic too, by the way. So,
And can you name the magician that he came from? Or not?
yeah, he came from Rick Thomas, and Rick had decided to retire his cats, and three of them had to go on the contract that he had left to Korea, and so we got those three back as well. So we retired all 5 cats, and Chaos had a pretty bad diet, actually, pretty poor diet, and so when we started giving him the real beef with the bone in, he broke all of his canines. So we had to take him in and do 4 root canals on him.
Wow.
But he's doing really, really good. Hi, Chaos.
So is it safe to say that most of these animals on property are entertainment animals?
Yeah, a lot of them are. Or that or came from photo opportunity cats, you know, where they use them up until they're 6 months of age, and then they end up in canned hunts or auctioned off, and, you know, God knows what happens
And
to them.
do they live their remaining days out here?
Once an animal comes here, they never leave the property. Matter of fact,
Okay.
when you were in my office, we even cremate them, and we keep
saw
their
the- I
remains.
saw
Yeah,
the thing,
we're
yeah.
building a memorial for them, and we'll put a little picture with each urn so people know, you know, who our animals are or were.
Right.
And so, but yeah, we keep them permanently. That's it. This is Hercules.
Hercules. Hercules.
Hi, what you
Hi,
doing?
buddy.
Are you having a good time?
Fun?
And a lot of people don't realize tigers love water, and they'll sit and play in the water all day long. There's 5 tigers in here. These are old siblings.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, kids.
Hello. Can you speak to me?
And these are what you call hydrozygous tigers. They have a white gene, and one of their brothers is a white tiger who's also in here.
They are beautiful.
Hi, PJ.
Hi, PJ. Are you going to say something? Is it time to eat?
Yeah, it's time to eat. That's why
And
they're
I saw
standing
that
here.
bottom tooth. It's a big one. Hello.
Hi, that's Moses.
Hey, Moses. They are just fascinating.
See, this is a very natural setting for them.
Right.
You know, they can hide from the public.
Yeah, if they want.
They've got a lot of shaded areas, very natural. And see, there's the white one laying underneath. You see him? Let me see if I can get you a little
yeah.
closer.
Wow.
Hi, Sebastian. What you doing? So now a lot of people, if they didn't know there was a tiger there, they wouldn't even see him.
No.
Because they blend in so
They
well.
sure do.
And when I go in there, you know, because not all the time do they listen, do they come in the holding area, so we still have to go in and take the bones out and clean up. Then I know they're in there, I just don't know where they are, but I know they can see me, and they leave me alone.
That's good.
But I'm the only one that goes in there. Tina will go in with me, but we don't allow our staff
Yeah.
any contact with the big cats.
Because they are wild
Oh,
animals.
they are very
I mean,
dangerous.
even if the magician is training them, they can.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
they will attack.
And Rick had been bit in the face too. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and Roy, of course, got messed up by one of his tigers, and so that does happen. I've been very fortunate. I've taken love bites, but I've never been really attacked. William and Victor actually, they came out of a zoo in Nebraska that was shut down by the United States Department of Agriculture for having a terrible facility, and so they already had them after the zoo was closed for a year and a half, and they could not place them and get rid of them. And so bottom line was they were going to shoot them. They were going to kill them.
I can tell you're very attached.
Oh yeah, these guys are great.
I hear.
That's Sheena, isn't it? Is that you, Sheena? Hi, Sheena. Come here. Come here, baby. Sheena and Ben, they're much older cats. And now these cats here, I can leash them up. You could walk them on a leash.
Come on.
But you notice our cats are in real good shape.
Oh,
They're not
yeah.
overweight. They're not underweight. You know, and this is a very old cat.
You can tell. How old is this one?
She's about 19,
What is the average age?
14.
14.
What? Hi, baby. Bam Bam was rescued from the East Coast. She was used in showbiz. She's only 3 years old.
You could tell she's a baby.
When she was 2 years old, she actually belonged to a gentleman in the industry that would take pictures with her and for film and commercials. And he got a big contract with another company. They couldn't use her, and they were going to euthanize her.
Oh,
And I said, "Oh, absolutely not." So
thank you.
we went all the way to the East Coast and get her. Hi, Puss.
She is gorgeous. Look, she's
Yeah,
pretty.
she's a little sweetheart, and she's got, of course, her own swimming pool. And I can scratch her if you like.
Okay, sure.
I don't go in with the big cats anymore, at least not on camera. The reason I don't is because it just sends the wrong message. I always tell people, you know, I mean, if you have a dream, keep punching away at it. You know, sooner or later, you know, you'll make it. I mean, you just got to stay at it, you know. And of course, we didn't start out this big, but, you know, now that we are, you can see the cats running down.
Yeah. Oh,
Now that we're here and we're finally, you know, financially secure, we're very careful what we take in when it comes to animals, because you can overdo it.
sure.
And that's the problem with a lot of hoarders. They take in so many animals, and then you can jeopardize everything that you've got going for you. So
Right.
it's important to be able to, sometimes you have to say no, you know.
Stay tuned for part 2 of Keepers of the Wild.